I watched my marriage end at 2:34 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, captured in perfect high definition by the security camera I'd installed in our bedroom just 6 days earlier. It was my husband and my assistant in our bed. My name is Danielle Monroe. Everyone calls me Danny. I'm 39 years old. I run an interior design business out of the converted garage behind our house in Riverside Heights, and up until that Tuesday afternoon, I thought I had a pretty good life. Married 18 years. One kid, Eli, my 17-year-old son, who's the best thing that ever happened to me. A business I built from nothing. A house I renovated with my own hands. And a husband who, apparently, had been bringing his mistress into my home while I was out earning the money that paid for everything. Rachel Kim, my assistant. The person I'd trained, mentored, and trusted with my business passwords and spare house key. Mom, you okay? You look like you're going to be sick. I slammed the laptop shut so fast I nearly caught my fingers. My son Eli stood in the doorway of my workshop, lacrosse stick in hand, his dark hair still damp from practice. 17 years old and already taller than his father. Just some footage from the Henderson renovation. I lied, my voice sounding strange in my own ears. Contractor did something weird with the drywall. Want me to look? I'm pretty good at spotting. No, the word came out too sharp. I softened my tone. No, honey. It's boring stuff. Shouldn't you be doing homework? Finished it during study hall. Dad texted that he's working late again. 3rd time this week. Eli shrugged, but I caught the disappointment in his eyes. Can we just order pizza? Working late. Right. 3 weeks before that Thursday, our neighborhood had a string of break-ins. 5 houses in 2 weeks. The Johnsons lost their grandmother's jewelry. The Patels came home to a trashed living room. Everyone was installing security systems, doorbell cameras, the whole 9 yards. So I did 2 ADT 8 cameras, motion sensors, the works. Bedroom included, because one of the break-ins happened while the family was asleep upstairs. Mark thought it was overkill. Nobody's gonna break in while we're home, Danny. I should have known then. People who are hiding something always hate cameras. Pizza sounds perfect, I managed. Give me 10 minutes to finish up here, okay? After Eli left, I reopened the laptop with shaking hands. The timestamp read 2:34 p.m., exactly 3 hours ago. Mark's silver Lexus was visible in the driveway through the bedroom window. Rachel's white Honda was parked on the street. I'd been across town presenting color palettes to the Johnsons, completely unaware that my husband and my employee were. I couldn't finish the thought. I forced myself to review the footage methodically. This wasn't the first recording. I scrolled back through the camera's archive. Last Tuesday at 1:15 p.m. Last Friday at 3 p.m. A week before that. 2 weeks before that. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady now, as steady as when I measured wallpaper or mixed custom paint colors. I was good at my job because I paid attention to details and planned everything carefully. Tonight, I was going to plan the most important project of my life. I made pepperoni pizza for Eli that evening, his favorite. We watched some cooking competition show together on the couch, him laughing at the contestants' disasters, me pretending everything was normal. At 9:47 p.m., Mark's car finally pulled into the driveway. "Hey, family," he called out, dropping his briefcase by the door. Mark was 42, still handsome in that aging quarterback way, with silver creeping into his dark hair. He worked in pharmaceutical sales, made good money, and had lately been making very good excuses. "Sorry I'm so late. The Peterson account is killing me." "It's cool, Dad," Eli said, barely looking up from his phone. "Mom and I handled it." Mark kissed the top of my head as he passed. I smelled Rachel's perfume, that expensive floral stuff she always wore. The scent I'd been smelling on my own husband for weeks without realizing what it meant. "You're a saint, Danny," he said. "I don't know what I'd do without you." I smiled up at him. "Neither do I, honey. Neither do I." That night, after Eli went to bed and Mark fell asleep beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The security camera's tiny red light blinked silently in the corner. I thought about the woman I'd hired 18 months ago because she seemed eager and talented. I thought about every late meeting, every client emergency, every time Rachel had volunteered to handle a project solo while I took another job. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to do what I did best. Design something beautiful from broken pieces. By morning, I had a plan. "Maggie, I need a favor," I said into my phone the next day, standing in the Home Depot parking lot where no one could overhear. Maggie Torres had been my best friend since design school, ran her own architectural firm, and had never liked Mark. She'd once called him aggressively mediocre after too much wine at my birthday party. "Name it," she said without hesitation. "If anyone asks, I'll be at your house tomorrow night from 6 until midnight. We'll be working on that joint commercial bid." There was a long pause. "Danny, what's going on?" "Mark's having an affair. With Rachel. That terrible man has." Maggie caught herself. "What do you need?" "Just the alibi. And maybe your lawyer's number. The divorce attorney, not the business one. You've got both." "Danny, I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry yet," I said. "Sorry comes after." My next call was harder. Mark's parents, Gerald and Kate Holloway, lived in the old colonial on Sycamore Street, the kind of house that had hosted 40 years of church socials and charity fundraisers. They were good people, traditional people, the kind who still believed marriage was sacred and divorce was shameful. I was about to shatter their world. "Danny, dear, what a lovely surprise," Kate said when she opened the door that evening. She was 68, silver-haired and elegant, wearing the pearl earrings Gerald had given her for their 30th anniversary. "Gerald's just finishing the dinner dishes. Come in, come in." "Actually, Kate, I need both of you to sit down. I have something you need to see." They gathered in their formal living room, surrounded by family photos spanning decades. Mark as a little boy in a baseball uniform. Mark graduating high school. Mark and me on our wedding day 14 years ago, both of us so young and stupid and in love. I opened my laptop on their coffee table. "I installed security cameras in our house last week," I began. My voice was calm, clinical. "I'd practiced this. I thought we might have a break-in problem. Instead, I found this." I turned the screen toward them and pressed play. Kate gasped and covered her mouth. Gerald's face went from white to red to a dangerous purple. The footage was damning. No room for interpretation, no plausible excuse. "Turn it off," Kate whispered after 30 seconds. "Please, Danny, turn it off." I closed the laptop. "There's more. Different days, different times. I have hours of it archived." Gerald stood up abruptly, his hands clenched into fists. "That's our son. Our son who we raised to be an honorable man, a faithful husband, a good father." His voice cracked. "Who is she?" "Rachel Kim. My assistant. The woman I trusted to help build my business." Kate was crying silently, tears streaming down her carefully made-up face. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth," I said quietly. "Her fiancé, Mark's employer, our friends, everyone at church. I'm going to take apart the life he's been lying about, piece by piece. But first, I needed you to know. You needed to see who your son really is before everyone else does." Gerald sat back down heavily. He looked older suddenly, diminished. "We raised him better than this." "I know you did. But somewhere along the way, he decided your values didn't matter. Our vows didn't matter. Our son didn't matter." I stood up, gathering my laptop. "Tomorrow night, I'm going to catch them in the act. If you want to be there, if you want to look your son in the eye and ask him why, be at our house at 8 o'clock. "We'll be there," Gerald said grimly. "He's made his bed. Now he can lie in it. With Rachel, apparently," I added. The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. The next morning, I implemented phase 2. I sent Mark a text at 10:30 a.m. "Just got a call from the Westbrook Hotel. Emergency design consultation for their lobby renovation. Might be an overnight job if it's as bad as they say. Big money, though." His response came within seconds. "That's great, babe. Don't worry about dinner. You go make it happen." I could practically hear the excitement in his text. I called Rachel next, keeping my voice bright and professional. "Hey, I'm heading out of town for an overnight job. Can you handle the Morrison consultation tomorrow afternoon? I should be back by then, but just in case." "Of course, Danny." She sounded so cheerful, so helpful. "You can always count on me." "Yes," I said softly. "I'm counting on that." At 2 p.m., I parked 3 blocks away from my own house and walked back through the woods that bordered our property. I had a perfect view of our driveway from behind Mrs. Amaya's garden shed. She was at her weekly bridge game. I'd checked. I didn't have to wait long. At 3:15 p.m., Rachel's white Honda pulled up. She was carrying a bottle of wine and a bag from Romano's, the expensive Italian place Mark always claimed was too pricey for a weeknight. She used her key, the key I'd given her, to let herself into my house. At 3:42 p.m., Mark's Lexus arrived. He was home from work, remarkably early for someone whose job supposedly kept him so busy. I pulled out my phone and opened the security camera app. The bedroom feed came up crystal clear. I watched Mark greet Rachel with a hug that made my stomach turn. I watched him pour wine into my good crystal glasses, the ones from our wedding registry. I watched them laugh about something, completely at ease in my home, in my marriage, in my life. At 7:30 p.m., I called Mark. He answered on the third ring, slightly breathless. "Hey babe, how's the hotel job going?" "Wrapping up now." I lied smoothly. "Just wanted to check in. Everything okay at home?" "All good. Just doing some paperwork, watching the game." Quiet night. I could see him on my phone screen, standing in our bedroom, lying to my face. Rachel was in the bathroom. I could hear the shower running. "Okay, honey. Love you. Love you too. Drive safe tomorrow." I hung up and immediately called Gerald. "They're both here. Now. We're 5 minutes away." I waited until their car pulled up before I walked to my own front door. Kate was gripping her purse like a weapon. Gerald's jaw was set in a way I'd never seen before. "Are you absolutely certain about this?" Kate whispered. "Once we do this, there's no going back." "There's already no going back," I said. He made sure of that. I unlocked the front door as quietly as possible. The house was dark except for the light spilling from the upstairs hallway. I could hear music playing, John Legend, the same album we'd played at our wedding reception. The three of us climbed the stairs together. I'd done this walk thousands of times, but tonight it felt different. Tonight I was walking toward an ending. The bedroom door was closed but unlocked. I could hear voices inside, laughter. The sound of my husband enjoying himself with another woman in our bed. I turned the knob slowly and pushed the door open. They didn't even notice me. My husband. My assistant. My bed. Rachel was wearing one of my silk robes, the champagne-colored one Mark had given me for our anniversary. Mark was propped against the headboard, shirtless, looking more relaxed and happy than I'd seen him in months. "Well," I said loudly. The Westbrook consultation wrapped up faster than expected. Rachel screamed and yanked the sheets up. Mark's face went from relaxed to panicked so fast it would have been funny if it wasn't destroying my life. "Danny, what? You're supposed to be out of town." I stepped fully into the room. "Surprise. I brought some guests." That's when he saw his parents standing behind me in the doorway. Kate made a sound like someone had punched her in the stomach. Gerald just stared at his son with a look of pure disgust. "Mom. Dad." Mark's voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" "We came to see what kind of man you've become," Gerald said, his voice shaking with rage. "Apparently, we failed as parents." Rachel was frantically trying to get dressed, hopping around trying to pull on her jeans while keeping the sheet wrapped around herself. The robe, my robe, fell to the floor. "This isn't what it looks like," she stammered. "It looks like you're sleeping with my husband in my bed while wearing my clothes," I said calmly. I pulled out my phone and held it up, screen facing them. And I've been recording the whole thing. Live feed from the security cameras. The same cameras that have been recording you both for the past 3 weeks. Mark's face went white. "You can't do that. That's illegal." "Actually, it's not. There's security cameras in my own home, installed legally, recording legally." I checked with a lawyer. I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "I can even share the footage with whoever I choose. Mark's employer, for instance. Doesn't your company have a strict policy against workplace relationships?" "You wouldn't," Rachel whispered. "Watch me." Kate turned and walked back down the stairs, her hand over her mouth. Gerald stayed long enough to say, "Your mother and I are ashamed of you, Mark. Deeply, permanently ashamed. Don't call us until you figure out how to apologize to your wife and son." Then he followed his wife out. After his parents left, the bedroom felt smaller, suffocating. Mark had finally gotten out of bed, pulling on his pants with shaking hands. Rachel was fully dressed now, mascara running down her face. "Everyone just needs to calm down," Mark said, trying to sound reasonable. "We can work this out like adults." I laughed, and it didn't sound like me at all. Adults don't sneak around behind their spouse's back. Adults don't bring their affair partner into the family home. Adults don't lie to their teenage son about working late when they're really screwing their wife's employee. "Danny, please," Rachel said. "I never meant to hurt you. It just happened." "Nothing just happens, Rachel. You made a choice. Every single time you came to this house, every time you lied about running errands, every time you accepted my paycheck while sleeping with my husband. Those were all choices. What do you want? Mark demanded. You want me to grovel? Fine. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end it with Rachel right now. Oh, I know you'll end it with Rachel. Because by tomorrow morning, you'll both be unemployed. Mark's face went gray. What did you do? I sent your boss an email about an hour ago. Attached some very interesting video files showing 2 employees conducting a personal relationship during work hours, using work phones to coordinate meetings, leaving work early to meet at what you both claimed was a client site. I checked my phone. Actually, I got a response while we were talking. Both of you are suspended pending investigation, effective immediately. Rachel made a strangled sound. You're destroying our careers over this? No. You destroyed your own careers when you decided to have an affair with a colleague. I'm just making sure your employer knows what kind of people they've been trusting with client relationships and company resources. I'll fight you on everything, Mark said, his voice turning hard. The house, custody, everything. You'll regret doing this. Actually, I won't. See, I've already filed for divorce. Fault-based, citing adultery with documented evidence. In this state, that means I get the house, primary custody of Eli, and a favorable division of assets. My lawyer assures me the video evidence makes this a very straightforward case. Eli, Mark said suddenly, and for the first time he looked genuinely stricken. What did you tell Eli? Nothing yet. But he's 17, Mark. He's going to figure it out. Especially when Rachel's fiancé finds out. And trust me, Peter's going to find out. And when your entire office knows, and when everyone at church knows, and when the whole neighborhood knows. You're trying to ruin our lives, Rachel said, tears streaming down her face. I'm trying to tell the truth. If the truth ruins your lives, that's not my fault. That's yours. I turned and walked toward the door. Mark, I want you out of this house by tomorrow night. You can stay with your parents or get a hotel. I don't care. But if you're still here when I get home from work, I'll have the locks changed and your belongings on the lawn. This is my house too, he said weakly. Not anymore. Check your email. My lawyer sent the preliminary separation agreement about 20 minutes ago. Sign it, or we can do this the hard way. Your choice. I left them standing in our ruined bedroom and went downstairs. My hands were shaking now, the adrenaline finally hitting me. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, breathing deeply, before I trusted myself to drive. I went to Maggie's house. She took one look at me and pulled me into a hug. How bad? She asked. His parents saw everything. Rachel's probably still crying. Mark's threatening to fight me on everything, but he won't win. I pulled back. Maggie, I just destroyed 3 lives in under an hour. No, she said firmly. They destroyed their own lives. You just turned on the lights so everyone could see. It doesn't feel like justice. It feels like, I don't know, scorched earth. Good. Sometimes scorched earth is the only way to kill the infection. She poured me a glass of wine. What happens now? Now I go home and tell my son that his father is a cheating liar and his family is falling apart. That's what happens now. I got home at midnight. Mark's car was gone. Most of his clothes were gone from the closet. He'd left his wedding ring on the bathroom counter. Eli was still awake, sitting in the living room with the TV on mute. Where's Dad? He asked. I sat down next to him. Honey, we need to talk. I told him everything. Not the graphic details, but the truth. Eli listened silently, his face getting harder and harder. When I finished, he said, How long have you known? About a week. Were you ever going to tell me? Or were you just going to let me figure it out when he moved out? The accusation stung. I needed to handle things first. I needed to protect us, protect you. I'm not a kid, Mom. I'm 17. I can handle the truth. I know. I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner. He was quiet for a long time. Then, is it really over? Like completely over? Yeah, honey. It's completely over. Good, he said, and his voice was cold. He doesn't deserve us. The next 3 days were chaos. Mark sent me dozens of texts, alternating between apologizing and threatening. Rachel sent me a long email claiming she'd never meant to hurt anyone and was going through a difficult time personally. I deleted it without finishing. Gerald and Kate called to say they supported me completely and wanted to maintain their relationship with Eli. They also mentioned that Mark was staying with them temporarily, sleeping in his childhood bedroom, and that he was not handling things well. Mrs. Amaya appeared on my doorstep with a casserole and a knowing look. I heard about your separation, dear. What a shame. Although I must say, I'm not entirely surprised. By the next day, the whole neighborhood knew. I got sympathetic looks at the grocery store and several texts from acquaintances I hadn't spoken to in months. On day 4, Rachel's fiancé called me. Is this Danielle? His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. Yes. This is Peter Park. Rachel's ex-fiancé now, I guess. He took a shaky breath. I just wanted to say thank you for telling me. I know it probably wasn't easy. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Are you kidding? You saved me from marrying someone who'd cheat with a married man. That's not, he stopped. Rachel told me it was your fault. That you were pushing them together by making them work closely. Is that true? No, that's a lie. I trusted them both completely. Yeah, I figured. He sighed. She's moved out. I couldn't even look at her after seeing that footage. I know it was probably hard to share, but thank you. Really. After he hung up, I felt a strange mixture of guilt and vindication. I'd destroyed Rachel's engagement. But Rachel had destroyed it first, really. I just made sure Peter knew before he made a permanent mistake. The real explosion came on day 6, when Mark and Rachel were both officially terminated from their jobs. Mark called me, screaming, "You cost me everything. My career, my marriage, my reputation, everything." No, Mark. You cost yourself everything. I just documented it. I'm going to fight you on the divorce. I'm going to make sure you don't get a penny more than what's fair. Feel free to try. My lawyer is very confident about our case. Something about overwhelming video evidence and sympathetic judges in fault-based adultery cases. He hung up on me. That night, Eli asked, "Mom, are you okay? Like really okay?" I thought about lying, but I'd lied enough for one lifetime. No, I admitted. I'm angry and sad, and I feel stupid for not seeing it sooner. But I'm also relieved. And I'm proud that I didn't just let them get away with it. Me too, Eli said. I'm proud of you too. The divorce took 4 months to finalize. Mark fought it initially, but once his lawyer saw the evidence and explained the law, he caved. I got the house, primary custody of Eli, 60% of our shared assets, and half of Mark's retirement account. He got a small apartment across town, weekend visitation, and a job selling insurance for a third of his old salary. Rachel moved back in with her parents in another state. I heard through the gossip chain that she was working retail and trying to start over. I promoted my other assistant, Jordan, and hired 2 new designers. My business actually grew. Apparently, being the wronged wife made me sympathetic in ways that generated referrals. People wanted to support me. 6 months after that horrible Thursday afternoon, Eli and I were eating pizza in the living room, watching the same cooking show we'd watched the night I discovered the affair. "Mom," he said during a commercial break, "can I ask you something? Anything. Do you regret it? Exposing them like that, destroying Dad's career, all of it." I thought about it carefully. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far, if I should have handled it more quietly. But then I remember how they both lied to me, used my home, disrespected our family. And no, I don't regret making sure everyone knew the truth. Good, Eli said, because they deserved it. Both of them. Maybe. But you know what? I'm not doing this for revenge anymore. I'm doing it for us. For our future. For building something honest and real. That night, after Eli went to bed, I went out to my workshop. I'd been working on a new dining table, commissioned by a couple celebrating their 30th anniversary. It was custom walnut with inlaid maple, a design I'd been planning for weeks. I ran my hand over the smooth wood, feeling the grain under my fingers. This was real. This was honest work, honest materials, honest results. My marriage had been built on lies. But everything I built from now on would be built on truth. I opened the security camera app on my phone one last time, scrolled through the archived footage, and hit delete. All of it. Every recording, every timestamp, every piece of evidence. I didn't need it anymore. The camera had shown me the truth. But I didn't need to keep watching. It was time to build something new. If this story moved you and made you think about what you accept in your own life, then stick around. Every week I share stories about people who walked away from what was killing them. Hit that subscribe button if you believe that your peace matters more than other people's comfort. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.